Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So, in last episode, we had the draft and the re-sign stage, and we picked up a good defenseman in the draft that should help us out in terms of our future. He's going to be playing in the AHL this year because our team is starting to actually look pretty good in terms of development. So, I think we're going to be getting close to actually being a contending team in terms of getting into the playoffs at some point. It might take another year or two, but I think we are getting pretty close. But as you can see, we drafted Tukinen. He's going to be in the AHL with a pretty stacked Tucson team, I should say. But this AHL team is going to be probably pretty nuts this year. A lot of good prospects are going to be jumping in also to the AHL, so I'm very excited to see what they could do down there in the minors. And then in the NHL wise, we picked up Filip Zadina at the draft via a trade with Detroit. He's only signed for 1 year, and then he's an RFA, but I think he was a very good piece to pick up. We got rid of Schmaltz's contract, which is nice, and we brought in a younger player that could probably produce. So I'm very excited to see what he could do in our lineup. But yeah, it should be a very exciting season ahead because John Farinacci and also Calvin Shelley are going to be starting in the lineup this upcoming season. So Shelley obviously coming off 5 goals in his first 5 NHL games, while Farinacci has no experience yet whatsoever in the NHL, but should have a pretty good rookie season too. So yeah, should be a very good season, I think, ahead. Well, by comparison to previous years, it's our goaltending that's pretty much the main concern, and we do have a lot of goalies currently on our team, so we are probably going to be getting rid of one of our goalies that we have in our system, just because we have way too much of them at the moment. So anyways, before we get into potentially making a couple free agent signings and a trade actually involving one of those goaltenders, we do have a few comments. So the first one is from HawksFan88. He says, I would play Tukinen in the AHL for a year. Also might be a good idea to look for a coach that suits your younger players better. So, yeah, I agree with Tukinen. Obviously, that's literally what I was just mentioning. In terms of coaching staff, our current head coach has a 53% scheme fit, so he's not really that great. Now, he is signed for currently 2 more years, so we might need to find a new coach. I will take a look and see if we could find a new head coach for this team at the moment, see if there's somebody that fits our team better, because or else we're not going to simulate that. Well, there is this Gaspard Bourgeois guy I was looking at, 61% scheme fit. He is wanting 1.022 million, so we might have to talk him down a slightly bit less. Hopefully he would accept something like that. So I think what I am going to do is fire our current head coach and try and get us a new coach. So yeah, let's just fire McEachern. He hasn't done us enough anyways for this team really. So I mean, he's helped us tank, but that's pretty much that. So yeah, let's see if we can get Bourgeois in as our current head coach. Yeah, I think that should be good. I think I should be able to afford him. If not, I will have to talk him down a little bit. If not, we could go after somebody like, I think I was looking at Carl as a head coach. Maybe it wasn't Carl. There was somebody else I was looking at as a head coach. I think it might have been Glennie, actually. Yeah, it was Glennie, 62%. So if something falls through, we could always go after Glennie. But for right now, I think we want to go after Bourgeois as our head coach. So there is that. And then the next few comments are from Sinners Sal. He says, how many years do you plan to rebuild for? So currently, I think this team is getting close to contending, but I think I want to maybe rebuild still for another 1 to 2 years. But if we are getting close to actually making the playoffs, I don't think I'm going to stop our team from making the playoffs from here on out, because obviously this young team does need some chances to prove themselves in the playoffs and get some experience under their belt. He also says if he sees that we have 34 million in contract space, so we might need to sign some players that would help, like, kind of with our contract situation. So we might have to sign somebody else after we trade away one of our goaltenders to free up an extra roster spot. So yeah, we might have to sign somebody like a Lucic kind of idea as a depth option, just to keep us close to the cap floor. So those, I think, are the comments. Yeah, those are all the comments. let's make our trade with Josef Kornar, because Josef Kornar is the guy on the outside. He actually does get a little bit of trade interest, unlike these other goalies. Like, I was trying to look for trades for Prosvetov, but nobody was interested in Prosvetov, so we aren't going to be trading away Prosvetov. But Kornar, we could get a 7th round pick from Anaheim or Florida, so I think we're going to send him to Florida just so he goes to the Eastern Conference instead. So best of luck over there, Kornar. And that will give us another roster spot available, I think. Maybe not. But it does also make our goaltending situation a lot more clean. And we are going to be looking for a new starting goaltender, I think, as well, in terms of free agent signings, because that way we could run whoever it is that we sign in a Lenefelt. And then in the AHL, we could run Wallstedt and Prosvetov. And then Tendek would be just a depth goaltender, which would, I think, make our team look a little bit better. So that is that. Let's get into free agents and take a look at what goalies are available, because I did take a look just before. There is some really good goalies. Like, we could honestly sign Hellbuck to a 1-year deal if we really wanted, just to keep us close to the cap floor, but I don't think this guy's really worth signing. I don't know. Is because our team would oversimulate probably too much if we got him. I mean, he would have a lot of trade value, which would be good, but it would be cheesing the system a little bit too much. So I think what I was going to do is probably go with somebody like Jack Campbell, because he seems to assimilate pretty well. Then again, he was with a very good defensive Carolina team, so he might not assimilate that good with us. But I think I'm going to take a chance in bringing Jack Campbell, because why not? Has some good playoff stats as well, so we're going to sign him to a 1-year deal. I could actually give him a 2-year deal, just in case Wallstedt doesn't grow yet. I'm going to give him a 1-year deal for now. He might end up being trade bait at the deadline, but we're just going to give him a ton of money, because Jack Campbell is an awesome dude, even though he plays for the Leafs. And that way he could help us in terms of our contract situation. So let's give him $6 million for 1 year. And I think that's all we could really sign, because that's our 50th contract, unless goalies aren't counting towards the 50 out of 50. Because I did just get rid of Kornar, but it still says 49 out of 50. I might be able to sign another forward still, so we'll take a look once we get Campbell signed. But we will try and sign somebody to like a contract to kind of help out our cap situation a little bit more. So let's advance today, just get Jack Campbell signed, because he's more likely going to accept. And we do have that new head coach in Gaspard Bouchard, which I'm very excited to see how good he is for our team, because he's signed for 5 years now, and he should help out our chemistry quite a bit. So we got ourselves a head coach, which is good. Let's advance today, and there we go. Jack Campbell has accepted, which gives us our goaltending situation a little bit better for the season. It's not a huge drastic improvement, but maybe gives us a better chance to win some games. And we do still have a contract space available, which is good. Oh, there's somebody that's exempt, which I believe is Connor Geekie. So that's maybe why we still have another contract space. So in terms of that, we are just going to sign a random player as a depth option for like a crazy amount of money, just to keep us close to the cap floor. I don't know actually if I should sign him to a crazy amount of money, because then I might not be able to trade the guy, but he might be able to go to free agency next year anyways. But let's go back to free agents, and we're just going to find a random center, I think. That not necessarily a super low overall, but we need to find somebody that's like maybe like a 79. Like Rasmus Asplund isn't bad actually. Yeah, we'll give Rasmus Asplund a contract. That's not a bad depth option, and he's also an RFA at the end of the year, so we'll just give him like 1 year at like $3 million. Give us a little bit more salary. So now that he is good, he'll more than likely accept that. We will have a pretty good roster, I think, going into next season, because I'm very excited to see how Shelley will do and Farinacci. Like I said, we'll probably simulate a little bit of the season, just so I can see how good those players are going to do to start their careers. So now that those signings are done, I'm going to make a quick jump cut to next season with our edited lines, so I will see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so our lineup looks pretty interesting right now. I think it's getting like kind of like a morale effect for the preseason, but right now our roster looks actually pretty damn good. We got Zadina, Hayton, and Keller, Shelley, Farinacci, and Agostino. Now this line could change up a little bit because Farinacci probably is not this high up of an overall. I would assume he's like an 83 actually, so he might play more on the third line, which has Genther currently. Geeky's going to be playing down there for now, but I might have to send him back to junior, to be honest, because I don't know if he's going to really fit this team right now at the moment. And then we also have Del Cole. Fourth line rise, we have Kraus, Asplund, and Gauthier, which looks pretty good. And then currently, in terms of our defensive core, it's Chikrin and Soderstrom, Timmins and Samorukov, and Bodin and Yoki Haru. And then goalie-wise, Campbell and Lenefelt, both 82 overalls. And currently, we also have Fisher, Boyd, and Ponomarev all scratched. So I don't really know where Christian Fisher fits on this team. Maybe he actually fits onto it once the preseason is done. And then Ponomarev might get sent back down to the minors as well for now. We will see. Boyd would definitely be one of our depth options. And then in the minors, we have some really good players as well down there. Tons of good prospects. So I am excited to see how those guys could do. I'm going to take Jenik actually out of the lineup, because I want to get all our prospects in to the lineup. And then we have Varlamov's down there, Sadikov, Alberts. There's like way too much good prospects down there to even count. So the AHL should have a very solid season. And then goaltending-wise, we got Wallstead and Prosvitalov, and there's our depth options down there as well. So I think I might end up calling up Cameron Crotty at the end of the preseason and then sending back to junior Geeky for now, just because I need to find a way to slot in, especially Fisher. But Ponomarev wouldn't be bad to be in the lineup either. So let's just get the preseason done just to see how that is. Also, I forgot to mention quickly before we actually start simulating, is that Calvin Shelley is going to get a very big opportunity this year. With playing on the second line, obviously is a good opportunity. He actually fits the second line pretty decently. Not fantastically yet, but he is playing with some really good players. And in terms of the power play, he's getting a really good opportunity playing on the point with some really good prospects and stuff like that. So it should be interesting to see what happens there. And then in terms of the penalty kill, he is going to get some penalty kill time for now, because he's a really good scorer, obviously, but he does also have very good shot blocking and defensive stats. So I am going to give him an opportunity to play on the penalty kill. And if for some reason he's not doing too well on there, then we could obviously take him off. But I do want to give him an opportunity to play on the penalty kill as well with that shot blocking. So our team looks pretty damn good for the preseason. We will take a look at it once the preseason is done again, just to make sure we have a good enough roster, and we might have to send some players back to junior for another year, but I think our team is making some really good progress in terms of development and all that. So let's get the preseason done, get this out of the way just to see how we do, and then we could take a look at our roster again to make sure the overalls are all similar. Right now we're having a really good preseason with our new head coach. Also, the new head coach might help us out in terms of being a good team this year. So there's a chance we could be a playoff team. Who knows? As long as our goaltending situation does better. So, wow, Clayton Keller had an insane preseason. 15 points in 7 games. It'd be nice if he does that during the regular season. One thing I want to note before we also go into our lineup is there is some big contracts that are going to be ending this offseason that we need to think about. So Chikrin, Zadina, Fisher, Gauthier, Samorukov, etc. So yeah, Chikrin's the big one. I don't really know if we should be bringing him back or not, because he is going to be probably wanting, like $9 million bucks. So you guys need to let me know about that, what we should do with Chikrin, because he is currently a big part of this team, and he's going to be wanting a lot of money in a lot of terms soon. So, but we also have Zadina to worry about in the offseason and stuff like that. So anyways, let's go back to our edit line screen currently and see what our roster looks like overall wise. It still shows the same. Let me just go to day 1 of the season just to make it a little bit easier, because I want to make sure those overalls are actually accurate before we actually keep the roster that same way. So let's go to edit lines, see if they're the same. Okay, so Farinacci is an 83 as I was expecting. Shelley's an 81. I mean, I could keep them all together. They do have the chemistry. Geeky is a 79, which is interesting too as a depth forward. I could send him back to junior though, because I do need to throw in Christian Fisher. Like I said, I might send down Ponomarev. I think I'm going to have to scratch. I don't really know who I could play as the third line center. Then that doesn't work for Asplund. So in that sense, we probably need to send down Geeky, I would assume. Yeah, I'm going to probably have to send down Geeky. He won't be able to play in the AHL, but I think for right now we have to send down Geeky. just because I need to find a way to slot in like Ponomarev or Fisher. So he's gonna go back to the CHL. We'll be under the salary cap. Are you kidding me? And let's call up Karate, because like I said, Karate's gonna be our depth defenseman, because we do need a depth defenseman in the NHL. So there you go on that front, and then we could throw in Ponomarev for now, I think, in terms of that spot. Yeah, Ponomarev actually fits fine there. Might be rushing Ponomarev a bit, but he has better potential. And do I take out Lawson Crouse? I think we got to take out Lawson Crouse. I mean, Dal Cole's listed as a depth option, but he actually produces 29 points. Not Dal Cole. Crouse had 20. Yeah, I got to take Lawson Crouse out, I think, at the moment. And we will throw back in Christian Fischer. So there might be a little bit of complaining about ice time there, with the fact that, what is it? Yeah, there's probably going to be some complaining about ice time from Lawson Crouse, but he's going to be scratched to start the year, and our defense is fine the way it is. Okay, that is good. Let me just take a look at the AHL. So yeah, Braden Tracy could also make the NHL. So we are running out of roster spots. So eventually we're gonna have to trade away some players to get like guys like Tracy into the lineup, and obviously we do got other good prospects down there as well. So yeah, it should be an interesting year for the AHL and NHL team. Yep, that's all set up and ready to go. Okay, perfect. Now let's start simulating a little bit of the season just to see how Calvin Shelley and all the top prospects do. We'll probably go to like, let's go to maybe January the 1st. I don't know if we have time to go that far, but I wanted to get a decent amount simulated. That way we could see how good Calvin Shelley is and all that stuff. So we're not going to take a look at the player stats right until the end of this episode, just because that way it leaves it up to randomness how good those players are. So let's see, the first month of the NHL season with a new coach and some really good young prospects in the lineup now, and we are off to a really good start so far. 4-2. We do lose in a shootout there to Anaheim though, but so far so good. I like what I'm seeing from this young team. Let's go now to, let's go to December the 1st. Let's go as quick as we can to January the 1st, because I really wanted to see how good the players are in terms of stats. But right now, it seems like that new coach is definitely helping out our team. So it was a good call to get a new coach at this point. And it seems like we're scoring a lot of goals, which is a good thing. Maybe Calvin Shelley's helping out that offense a lot. At least that's my guess it would be. Viktor Varlamov, one of our better prospects in Tucson, has been injured. We'll go replace player for now. And okay, we're at December the 1st, and we're 14-7-1, so some major strides from this young team. Like I said, I felt like this team is getting closer to being a contending team because of all the young guys and whatnot. So that is good. And Clayton Keller's having a good year, 22 points in 22 games so far this season. So he's actually off to a good start, not like last year where he was very slow to produce. But maybe getting rid of Nick Schmaltz was the right call for this team, and bringing in somebody like Philip Zadina instead. So let's go one more month so we could go to January the 1st. And then we'll take a look at player stats and stuff so far for the season, as well as the trading block and that type of thing. But so far, this team is looking decent. I hope that they can keep it up all year round. Geeky actually can play in the AHL. I thought he was not going to be able to play in the AHL, so I do have to find a way to slot him into the lineup. And that means I'm going to be taking out Semenov for that. And I'm going to move Geeky up to the top line. Yeah, that looks fine. Semenov doesn't really have as much potential as some of those other guys, so he's not going to be in the lineup. But come on, NHL team, let's keep winning some games. I actually might want to make the playoffs this year, to be honest, because we have a very good prospect pool that we could keep building around and all that stuff. So Gautier's been injured. Let's just go replace player, because that will put in Lawson Crouse more than likely. And now Geeky has been injured in the AHL, so we'll have to replace him. That really sucks. And now our NHL team's on a losing streak, but we are back to winning a game just before Gautier's return, which is good. Lawson Crouse was a -4 in those 3 games, so yeah, Lawson Crouse might be one of those guys we have to flip away at some point, because I don't know if he's going to want to be a depth option for his entire career, or rest of his career. Geeky is back as well. That's good news for Tucson. But yeah, honestly, we could call up Geeky at any point this year if we want to, but we need to find a way to slot him in. I only signed Asplund as like a depth option, but right now he's not doing too well, actually. -9 this season, so that fourth line might need to be retooled a bit. But that was a pretty rough month for this team. We're now 19-15-2. We did lose a lot more games than we should have, but we are still in third in our division, which is a nice thing. Most points so far this season is Keller with 30 points in 36 games. Interesting. Okay, so now that we've simulated a good chunk of the season, let's take a look at our team stats and player stats so far, just to see what's been going well for our team and what has been not doing too well. So let's go entire league-wise so far. So at the moment, we are currently 11th best in the entire NHL. Goals for per game. We're not scoring enough, I guess, apparently. We're just right around the mid-table at 3.06. Goals against, we are allowing more than we're scoring as well. We are one of the worst defensive teams. So our goaltending needs to improve. Our defense needs to improve if we want to actually make the playoffs this year. We could still just let this team play out as is, though, to be honest. Because not making the playoffs is not a major problem. It's more just to see how good these young guys are. But if we miss the playoffs, Chikrin might not want to re-sign is the only problem. Power play percentage-wise, our power play is one of the worst in the league, so we do need to address our special teams. And our penalty kill is currently one of the better ones in the league, it looks like. And it's like mid-table, 84%. Short-handed goals, so far we only have one short-handed goal, so we do need to be a bit better short-handed-wise. And that's pretty much that. We are a better road team than home team, which is kind of interesting. Let's take a look at our player stats so far for the season. So we go by centers to start off with. So Hayton's got 26 points in 36 games. He's off to a good start. So that's pretty nice. John Farinacci, 18 points in 36 games. So he's off to actually a pretty solid start in his first season. Then again, he is playing on the second line. Ponomarev is also off to a good start. 14 points. He's up to an 81 overall right now. Could be statistical growth, but that's good to see. Asplund, 8 points in 36 games. Looks like that fourth line is the main problem right now. So we could call up Geeky and use Asplund as depth, to be honest. Or I could just take Asplund out and put in Boyd and see how good he is. Left wing wise so far, Keller's got 30 points. That's a good start to the season for Clayton Keller. 30 points in 36 games. Zadina, 25 points. Liking what I'm seeing, considering last year in Detroit, in 61 games, he had 27 points. So Zadina might want an upgrade of a contract for sure. He is shooting really good this year as well. Agostino, 21 points in his second season so far in 36 games. Probably will have a career year this year, which is a good sign. Genther, 17 points. Also a better year from Dylan Genther defensively especially. And his shooting percentage is way better too. And then Michael Dalcol, 8 points in 36 games and a -8. And Lawson Krause, nothing in 3 games. Right wing wise, Calvin Shelley off to a fantastic start to his career, up to an 82 overall. Not scoring as much goals as he did to start the year, but he does have 21 points in 36 games, which is pretty good. So he's got 26 points in 41 games now. I don't know why his shooting percentage went down a lot. Maybe I should take him off the special teams in terms of the penalty kill. I don't know, but he is still blocking a decent amount of shots. His takeaway numbers are not great right now. That's interesting. Maybe I have to rework our lines a bit so Shelley could score more goals, but right now he's not scoring as much as I thought he would. He's on pace for maybe a 30-goal season, though, in his first season, which is not too bad. Gauthier, 15 points. Fisher, 14 points. Not too bad there. Defense, Chikrin, 27 points is really good. He's definitely going to want a lot of money. At this stage, we might have to give him like an 8-year deal, to be honest. Timmins has been fantastic so far. Soderstrom, 14 points. Samarukov's been good. Our defense, really no problems, I would say, with production-wise. And then plus-minus-wise either. And then our goaltending, Jack Campbell's been really good so far. But Alenefelt has really dropped the ball as the backup, which is not good. Not good at all, but he is an 81 overall, which is kind of nice. So that is the NHL. Let's quickly take a look at the AHL just to see our prospects. So Semenov's got 16 points so far in 21 games. Wow, he actually was producing really good before we took him out for Geeky. So maybe he should be back in the lineup, to be honest. And then Eugene Howe, 10 points is pretty solid. Albert's 9 points. Hornsby only 7 points. And then Geeky 2 goals in 11 games. Hagel doesn't matter. Tracy 22 points. Schulz has 14 points. Varlamov has 13 points. We're getting some good development down there for sure. And McGillis, the rookie, 10 points. And then Nybeck 20 points. Sadikov 14. Denisov 7. Defensively, Moser's got 19. Schneider's got 16. Tukinen's got 14 so far. 78 overall now. Capobianco doesn't matter. He's a minus 13 though, which is yikes. Sylvester 3 assists, definitely a defensive defenseman, but he is a 70. And then Kirstanovich is a minus 12 right now, which is not good in his first year. And goaltending has really struggled for Wallstead so far, which is kind of weird. But Prosvetov has been really good. So that is the AHL and NHL points so far this season, but not too bad of a year so far. Let me just take a look at rookie scoring for fun. So Shelley's currently second best in terms of rookie scoring, so Shelley's definitely having a good year so far. He needs to score a little bit more goals though, if he can. So that is that. Let's take a quick look at the trading block, just in case we want to make trades next episode. But right now wise, I don't know if next episode we'll probably still sim to the deadline, but this team might make the playoffs this year, but we really need to just figure out our defense, I think, a little bit maybe. Maybe score a little bit more goals because we have less goals for than goals against. But let's take a look at the trading block quickly. But, we could always just see if this team does good down the stretch, and if they do, then we are okay and we make the playoffs. If they don't, then we miss the playoffs, and that's fine too, because we could use more prospects always. But I still will show you guys the trading block in case you want me to make any trades for next episode. Because who knows, maybe we want to try and contend right away, but I don't know. Because it's really tough to decide if this team is ready to make a jump to the playoffs or not. Because we do have a new head coach, which is nice. We are playing better than we have played ever so far in this franchise mode series. So, and there is some prospects on the block, which is good. But I don't really think we need to trade away anybody in particular. Maybe we could trade away somebody like Kraus, but we could use him as a depth option for the rest of the year. And then, as I was mentioning, we need to think about what we need to give to Chikrin as a contract, because he's going to want a lot of money. He's 26 years old, so he's still relatively young. And if we give him an 8-year deal, that would take him till he's 34. Wow, Matt Duchene is still making $8 million in this. That's ridiculous. And Gerventi. Suni. Oh, somebody mentioned about Oliver Suni, then I completely forgot. He does still have value, but he doesn't look like he's going to pan out because he's a 65 at 22, so. I forget who mentioned him, but somebody mentioned him a couple episodes ago after I had already recorded, so. Pulak is an 86. That's pretty good. Now, there's definitely stuff we could pick up if we want to. There's that Lawrence guy that was mentioned to take at the draft. For some reason, Tampa Bay has him on the block. He is playing really good in the minors, though, this guy. 29 points already. Interesting. Toronto has John Tavares on the block with 1 year left. And that is pretty much it looks like. So some good players on the block for sure, but I'm not sure really what we're looking for in terms of trades. So that is that. Let me take a quick look at the draft class just in case it sways you guys to go into a rebuild state more. And we have no idea about anything about this draft class right now, really. But we do know that there is a defenseman supposed to go first. He's more likely DFD. So it looks like a good mix of players in this this draft. There's already elite players probably supposed to go at 8th, which is crazy. So this might be one of the better drafts we've had so far coming up. No idea for sure though. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate more of the season. We might make some trades if you guys think it's necessary. And yeah, maybe we'll just let this team play out the rest of the year and see what happens. So let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.